In the spring of 1976, the town of Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, incorporated into its boundaries an area called Kid City, a special children's play area that was founded by the community of this small northern town. Kid City is an enclosed area in the middle of a playground with walls 12 feet high. Inside the 140-foot diameter compound is where it all happens. Freedom is the word, and freedom is what these kids have. Hammers bang, saws buzz, and minds grow as the children of Kid City build their shacks and anything else that comes to mind. The creator and guide of Kid City, Jacques van Pelt, records the daily activities in his log.
But I've seen things happening to the little girl in the wheelchair, say, with her little animals and so on. I'll both photograph it and record it. She has to be wheeled in, and then being received well by the kids as a person, as a human being who has all kinds of possibilities. And the kids try this out. Rosie may resent this, or she may accept some of it. Like, you like to paint? Oh, I don't like to paint. So it's a temporary turn-off. So somebody else will try something else. And animals come in, and the child is very receptive to animals and cuddling them and so on. Kids begin to find out that it takes skill in interpersonal relationships or getting along with all kinds of different people. And so last year we were a bit at a loss, all of us, what Rosie might like to do. She was new to the place. This year she came back. And it seems that the same type of kids, except for one who really moved in with Rosie and helped her build a shack, or actually built a shack for her, but she helped painting the cupboards and so forth, and became her place. This year, we said, well, we're going to try a little more of it. As the city grows from season to season, kids grow in complexity, and their structures and their behavior grows in complexity. And the newcomers to it find it, they stand in awe over what kind of cooperation or conflict can go on in that place. And in fact, when a little kid kind of stand up and scream, I want a big boy over here to hold this board, somebody will start coming. Somehow, willy-nilly or in great spontaneity, and say, I'll do that for you, kid.
Were you surprised at the behavior of these children, the way they reacted so positively?
Yes, because I think I have come from a more negative behavior after the war, where kids were rather violent and not all that loving, to a place here. Yes, I found this surprising. And also kids coming out with it saying, I say, well, what is it that strikes you most in this place now? What is it that hits you most? It's Jacques, it's because we work so much together. We cooperate. No room for competition in that place. Nobody ever says, my shack is better than yours. Or, Jacques, would you pick the best shack? That's over and done with. Nobody ever says that. This, in the regular world, is so dominant. And I say, thank God for a place where by hook or by crook this is maintained. And I will strive towards maintaining that. And but the shacks must be torn down every year in order to build new creations next year. This is the point of the place. I must actively create something. And I have something of beauty, and I have it towards the end of the season. But I must learn that life, material goodies don't last forever. And so I must make the lottery next year for a new space, which is a free open space, and the shack will have to be built again, so that I learn to build in greater complexity or greater beauty. My shack last year wasn't all that hot after all, maybe. But if I keep allotting kids into the same places, they sit in there on day 2, and what happens when a kid is idle? Not much good can come of that. So we had to set the idea of completely emptying the place except for the outer walls, and then starting from scratch again next year. See, this year they had a lottery, but they're smart. Because what they do, they trade as soon as the lottery is over. And you see enormous promises made. Say, I want a rabbit for this place? You want a box of nails for this place? You want to move in with me? And so on. So the lottery gave at least everybody a fair chance to bid on new places.
In your log, did you log funny stories, little funny things that happened?
Yes. The barbershop opening with a pair of clippers, hand-operated clippers, because we have no power, although the kid brought in first an electric apparatus, but of course it couldn't be plugged in anywhere, and it was discard from home. But this hand clipper worked real well, and he was going to cut hair. Well, the first customer he had, he made a road right down from front to back, like they would do in the war, you see, with prisoners someplace. And he charged his kid 25 cents and sent him home. Before the kid came out of the shack, even, he had many spectators, and the barber was hailed as a tremendous barber.
Complaints about the site of the structure, noise, or other problems have been few and usually misguided. An explanation from Jacques is usually all that's required to settle the problem, or he promises to find ways to solve the troubled area. A quick survey of the neighborhood and a talk with the town superintendent proved to me that most people agreed Kid City is a good idea.
Well, I think it's great for the kids during the summer. I seem to have a grand time over there, too.
Have you been over there?
Oh, yes. I think it's absolutely fascinating, all those different things, typewriters and bathtubs and things like that. It's really great. And as for noise, there really isn't a great deal of noise that comes from over there.
Are you opposed to the panel structure that's around there? Does it obstruct your view, or does it upset you at all?
Well, actually, a lot of people have said that to me, or, isn't it a mess, sort of thing. But actually, where I sit, I can't even see it.
When you talk to the parents, what do they say about Kid City?
Well, they think it's a great idea, but sometimes they want to go out to Pine Lake, and the kids always say, do we have to? I've got something going at Pine Lake. I've got something going at Kid City. I want to finish it.
As a parent, how do you feel about your kids participating in Kid City?
Oh, I like it very much. I going by the reaction of my two daughters. One's 8, one's 6. And they're very keen every day to go down there and participate with the rest of the kids. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see it as an ongoing program.
When they can't go for some reason or other, what's their reaction?
Well, it's especially with the young one, she takes that as a kind of form of punishment. She feels that we shouldn't intrude on what she considers to be her priorities.
The superintendents met in Fort Smith. What was their reaction when they saw the slide presentation on Kid City?
I think their first reaction was amazement. They didn't know that such a program could be held in the community, really. And that they took back all hopes of establishing the same type of activity in their own communities. One superintendent from Inuvik, he says, by gosh, there's the idea. And there's a project where we have to implement that at least we'll know where part of our kids are.
Do you feel that this Kid City has kept a lot of kids off the street or out of mischief?
It can't do nothing else, but if you look at the statistics that we have, the number of kids that have been through that Kid City, and the crowd that I see every day in there, surely they're not on the streets, that bunch of them anyway.
And did the kids learn anything from this experience? Well, just ask them. And above all, listen to the confidence in their voices.
You learn how to work with tools.
What else have you learned?
Hobby City should be improved a little bit, like hobbies. Like you should have boats, where you can make good boats, good thick wood, 2x4s, that kind of stuff should make boats in Hobby City.
Boats that you could actually float in the river?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I learned to cooperate with people and use tools and lots of things.
You were the police chief, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me any examples of some things that happened that made your job a little difficult?
Well, I really didn't like it when you had to go up to a kid and tell them to go home, because sometimes we had to ask them to leave, because, like, there was a little boy here who threw sand in a girl's face, and I really didn't like telling him to leave. He was just about 6, about that age. And other difficulties is when kids quite older than me go to Kid City, and then they're making trouble for the little kids, like coming in their forts, won't stay out, and things like that. And it's kind of difficult to get them out of there.
Have you actually put them in jail?
Mm-hmm.
How long did you usually keep them in?
A longest time when we forgot about a kid, half an hour.
You forgot about a kid?
Yeah, we put him in the jail and we forgot all about him for half an hour. Who reminded you? Well, he was shouting on the door, banging on the door, and everything else.
They're proud of their effort, and they don't mind showing it off. Before Kid City closed for the season, a group of children gave me a tour.
That's the jail over there, and this is the police station.
Who goes in there?
Well, if you're caught stealing nails or without shoes or something like that, you get put in there. And this is the hospital. And then, I don't know what this is called, and that is called. Well, sometimes this turns into a store.
What kind of a store?
Well, comic books, they sell drinks, chokers. And then this is the book exchange. If you have comic books, Disneyland highlights, and pencil puzzle fun, you can trade them in for other kinds of books.
Does this one belong to one certain person, or is it a communal thing?
You have partners, and then you and your partner work it out. And you can have any amount of partners you want. And then if it gets too crowded, then if somebody else wants to join another fort, you let them join. Okay. And this is another house, and this was the dentist at one time. He used to be here, but now he closed down. This is the fire department. And the fire department has fire extinguishers instead of a fire truck. And this is a two-story house.
What's going to be upstairs?
Just rooms.
It looks like it's going to be pretty solid, too.
Yeah.